Welcome, today we're reacting to why almost all fighters use the AK-47. You know, the gun you can use in, well, CSGO, obviously. And I have my theories for it, because, well, apparently it's very cheap to make. But, let's go, let's see. Maybe there's, like, other reasons for that, you know?
Why do all of these fighters use the same gun? The Houthis took over a container ship with them. The
Yeah.
Taliban, Afghanistan.
Yeah.
The Chechens used them to fight for independence.
They did.
Cartels to push their product.
They
The
also
Somalis
do.
used them to shoot down an American helicopter. The
What? I never heard about that story.
Nicaraguan Contras to fight the Sandinistas, who
Okay.
were fighting back using the same weapon. And Liberian warlord Charles Taylor gave them out as gifts in exchange for loyalty.
Okay. That's fun. Like, yes, here you go, have AK-47, you know, now you're gonna be my soldier.
This is, of course, the most iconic weapon on Earth, the
Yep.
AK-47.
The big gun.
Originally a Soviet creation, it loosely translates to the automatic by Kalashnikov 1947, named for
yeah.
the gun's designer Mikhail Kalashnikov. Since these
That's a story I know. Like, I know all about the, like, well, I wouldn't say all about. I'm no Donald Trump saying I know all about, you know. But like, I know some stuff about this because, like, I'm, well, interested in history somewhat, and somewhat somewhat interested in guns sometimes. Like, I'm interested in the weapons I use in games.
Start of its production 75 years ago, the AK-47 has become the most widespread firearm on the planet, used by dictatorships, rebellions, militias, and paramilitary organizations on every continent.
Was that Ireland? Did the Irish use that?
Except these two. It has been the most produced gun in history, with roughly 100 million of it and its variants made, while the number 2, the M16, and its variants stand at around 8 million made.
Bro, that's such a wide gap. That's massive. Like, you can literally, like, put, like, I don't know, a battalion of people with those guns, like, at the top, you know, AKs, and then with, like, M16s, you can just have, like, a couple of people basically, and it's just like, you know, I don't know, like, maybe I wouldn't say like that there's any difference in precision. I mean, M16 might have better precision than AK-47 probably, and might have like a better distance to shoot at because it has longer, you know, it's a longer rifle basically, so it has better distance. But that's like it. So like you would probably want to fight like at a distance with that. Maybe, I don't know. I never used guns in real life much. I only use like hunter guns, basically.
It's the standard weapon in over 100 countries, while also being the first true civilian.
I love how Hoser has like all of those countries with like different animals. That's fun.
Weapon, and the AK has become the deadliest weapon ever designed, with millions killed at the end of its muzzle. The AK-47 is more than just a gun. It's a symbol of anti-Western ideology. It's on the flag of Mozambique.
It is.
The banner of Hezbollah, Lebanon.
That's something I didn't know about, actually.
Lebanon's primary insurgency group, on the flag of Colombia's historically largest left-wing rebel group, and on the seal of Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps.
Okay, that's actually interesting, because like I know a bit about, like, I knew about Mozambique, you know, but then I realized like I didn't know about, like, you know, the organizations that actually use a gun as a symbol. That's actually like very unique, because it just shows that the AK has much more of a semiotic meaning, if you know what I mean. It's like it gives you different connotations, because like it gives you the connotations of, well, apart from just being a weapon, it gives you the connotations of like rebellion. It gives you connotations of terrorism as well at some point. Like if you think about, like, you know, Hezbollah, and so it's interesting that you can connote the symbol with many different things as well. It's like, I'm learning, you know, we're learning, chat, maybe. Go, fuck, it doesn't. There we go.
Never took over world.
I think my
rebel groups, marketing yourself as anti-establishment.
My mouse is acting up.
Have been as easy as picking up a certain variety of gun over another.
Okay.
Why this came to be is a story of black market dominance. It's a
Oh,
little
okay.
odd that this Russian gun ended up at the forefront of nearly all of our modern fights.
So that's interesting because like it's I know that gun is mass produced. Well, was mass produced basically. So so what I understand is they're going to be saying that, oh yeah, the gun was mass produced. It got sold on the black market, and it ended up in the hands of like all of those rebellions and like people that do stuff basically with the gun.
It doesn't have that high of a range, and it often doesn't even.
See, told you, it doesn't have much of a range. Like maybe M16 has like maybe not twice as much range, but like 200 meters more range probably. I'm probably talking out of my ass probably right now. Like some like some American gonna come into this comment section and say, actually, M16 has this much of a range. Yes, I tested it out in my backyard. What I did a British accent over there. That was meant to be an American, not a Brit. Whatever.
Straight. There are plenty of other automatic rifles that could have taken its spot.
Yeah.
The Fedorov Avtomat, Mauser, MK.
Oh, go back.
Could have taken its spot. The Fedorov
I've seen this in a game. I never used it. I don't like the design of it.
Avtomat, Mauser.
Mauser feels too heavy. Look at it. It feels just so heavy.
MKB-42.
See, this is a good design. Like it's very similar. It has like, I think it has more ammo. It has more like I don't know what the thing is called. I would say clips, but it's probably not clips. But like it has more capacity for ammo, basically.
Or M1 Garand, just to name a few.
Oh, I know this
one.
one.
The first major advantage the AK has over any other rifle, though, is ease. Absolutely anybody can learn how to use an AK-47.
That's true.
As Military Times elegantly puts it,
that is true. I heard that you can, like, there's some people that assemble it in like couple of seconds, like not even a couple of minutes, just like 1 minute probably. I heard those are stories, but like I could believe that.
Gun can be field stripped and reassembled by an illiterate 8-year-old Ugandan after less than an hour of training.
See?
I would have used a nicer example, but you get the idea.
Hey, grandma could use it.
It is just so easy to repair, unjam, and maintain. It can be shot while standing, kneeling, sitting, or squatting too.
Yep.
Not only can it resist any form of weather like dust.
I don't know. Do you know the monkey clip? The one where monkey like was it in Congo? Yeah, it was in Congo, I think. Because there was this clip of monkey with a gun shooting at the rebels in Congo. I don't know if that was AK-47 as well, but like, heck, if it was, then you could even see monkey could use it. You know?
Extreme heat, freezing, rain, mud, but it's what they call soldier-proof, with as few as 8 moving parts slickly.
Honestly, I like how he said soldier-proof instead of idiot-proof, because that is equivalent of saying the same thing, basically.
Designed to reduce malfunction, it is truly hard to break it via human error. For militant groups often made up of dissatisfied, disorganized, and untrained youths, this gun is a perfect choice for their style of fighting. Accessibility over precision. The conventional story.
Also, you could add to this, because it's like there's so many of them, it's very good for those sorts of organizations because, well, what am I saying? I feel like a villain right now saying this, but like it's good because like you can you can use human fodder basically. You can arm up more people with them and just have them like hidden in the bushes basically. Guerrilla style. I mean, guerrilla warfare style,
The story of its design goes something like Kalashnikov was born a peasant in southern Siberia where his family farm was taken away by the Soviet collectivization program. As a teen, he was deported to a small Siberian village, falling in love with tinkering the guns he used to hunt. He was
Give me a moment, I need to fix up my chair.
He worked as a tank engineer,
Boom.
Injured during the 1941 Battle of Bryansk against the Germans. When recovering, he heard other soldiers complain about how often their rifles would jam and poof!
Yeah, I can imagine this thing jamming, honestly.
Bob had an idea. The AK-47 was ordained into this world by this genius tinkerer and given to his country to defend itself. An ardent socialist to the very end, Kalashnikov never made a single dollar off of his world-changing
Yes.
invention, only receiving 11 Soviet awards and the title of lieutenant general. And while this made a great proletarian story to tell Soviet children before bed, it's only half true. Yes, Mikhail was born a poor farmer, eventually becoming a Red Army engineer, but it was not only his genius that gave us the AK-47. In 1943, the People's Commissariat of Armaments held a design competition to create a new Soviet automatic rifle.
Okay.
Kalashnikov, who joined the competition in 1946 along with his wife Ekaterina, Vasily Lyuty, and Vladimir Daikin, all worked as a team to meticulously design.
See, now we are learning because, like, like I know that the thing was named after him. I knew he was involved in creation of it, but I'd never like heard of the names of people that were also involved because like, I knew there were people, but like I wasn't like interested in like going deep into like learning whoever the hell did like helped him out with this.
This new weapon, going through dozens of incremental iterations, consulting with soldiers along the way. For example, the trigger alone was redesigned 10 times before the AK was finally completed.
Yeah, I mean the trigger is a very important part because like if the trigger is like too small, if you have if you have like bigger fingers, you might fail to like do the thing. If the trigger is like messed up, like in a wrong position, it's not gonna shoot, obviously. So like honestly, I can imagine like trial and error going with the trigger because it's a hard part to like deal with. Also, you need to figure out like how to make it like economic in a way because if you're gonna make it like more complex somehow, then it's going to it's going to be hard to manufacture it like en masse basically.
Yes, it did win the design competition, becoming the Soviets' official rifle in 1948 with production starting the following year. Use was initially slow to take off. Only 8,000 were produced in 1949, but eventually, through even more tinkering and tweaking, tens of millions would be made. In fact, most of what we call an AK-47 is not an AK-47, but the AK modernized in AKM. This was made to give general improvements to the production process, to make it more accurate, reliable, lighter, and to lower its costs.
Oh, okay. That's learning. That's learning over here, Because like I didn't know there was a difference between the models, but apparently because like whenever I think of AK-47, I do think of AKM. Now I do realize because like yeah, just because probably. Like I mean that's what you get in CS:GO. I have like bloody 3,000 hours in CS:GO, and I no longer play the game. By the way, that was me like nearly 10 years ago.
The gun entered service in 1961, becoming the dominant variant of the AK family. Similarly, the AK-74 improved upon the design again, becoming widely issued at the end of the 70s. The ease and reliability of the gun was perfect for such a multilingual empire, with no shortage.
AK-74, by the way, is probably the Vandal of like not CS:GO, Valorant. That's the Vandal.
Of illiterate conscripts. The AK-47, AKs in general, didn't get their foot in the door for economic reasons, but rather political ones. The Soviets, in an effort to export its ideology and influence around the world,
they exported guns to revolutionary militias that wanted to take over their newly independent countries, like in Africa, basically, and maybe not really South America, because South America was pretty much independent at the time. But like they did have revolutions in South America as well, honestly. Oh, and in Southeast Asia.
First gave out the license to manufacture the gun and technical expertise to certain fraternal countries, supplying it to rebel groups around the world at the same time. So countries like Poland, Bulgaria, North Korea, and China were able to make this gun for a low cost. Iraq, Iran, Egypt, and Cuba were also large recipients and producers of the gun, eventually becoming regional suppliers in their own right. Once
why is North Korea a Pegasus
supply chains were built to send the AK around the world, 4 events cemented its place in history. The
Okay.
first was the Hungarian Revolution of 1956.
Oh. Okay.
This was a revolt against Soviet rule quickly crushed by 60,000 troops. You know,
Yeah.
typical Soviet Union stuff.
I heard that story once. Not a nice story to hear about, you know? Not a good thing. But like that's how they did stuff. That's how they did stuff, you know?
However, it was remarkable in that it was the first conflict which brought the AK-47 to the global stage, used by Soviet troops to kill thousands of protesting Hungarians. Nice one. Then, the Vietnam War proved its worth. While the Soviet-backed North fought mainly with AKs, the US-backed South used the M16. This
Yeah. See? Told you about the guerrilla warfare thing. Because
mainly with AKs.
Like you don't need much of a range. 400 is good range when it comes to like fighting in a jungle, especially if you're hiding in bushes and like you know, you're the talking trees basically, you know.
US-backed South used the M16. This
Well,
gun
yeah,
jammed,
okay.
corroded, and always.
Yeah, I can imagine because it's mostly metal parts, and well, it's metal like you know, a very delicate metal parts basically. So I can imagine it corroding and like getting basically screwed in like jungle and like basically rainforests of like you know Vietnam, you know.
Always needed cleaning, while the AK worked fine in the dense, hot jungle environment. It's said that some AKs were found buried in the mud for months, but ready to fire after wiping it off and giving it a kick. The popular perception of the well-trained American army losing to inexperienced farmers likely gave the AK-47 its largest marketing win ever.
Yeah.
The third event, though, was much more of a tangible win for the gun: the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. While only Soviet forces used them at the start of the decade-long guerrilla war, U.S.
Didn't they lose this one?
President Jimmy Carter made one of the most important decisions in the history of the AK and authorized the CIA to supply the anti-Soviet Mujahideen forces with hundreds of thousands of Chinese-made units. In terms of the amount of arms received relative to its size, Afghanistan had been the highest on Earth. Throughout the course of the war, as many as $2 billion worth of AKs flowed through Pakistan up into Afghanistan.
That is insane.
Monitored the AK's prices in Lahore and Peshawar black markets to measure how many guns would inevitably slip away from their directed traffic. After decades of wars and bombings of Afghanistan, many AKs migrated themselves along with the Afghan diaspora around the region, and Afghanistan would eventually become one of the largest nodes in the global arms trade. And finally, when the Soviet...
That is... I don't know much about Afghanistan, in all honesty. I know that there was the Afghan War, the Afghan War, the fact that you basically can't conquer Afghanistan because it has bloody mountains all over the place and it's a desert, pretty much. But that is something that I didn't know, that they became like a major trader of like you know guns, basically, like probably around the 90s, I bet. Yeah.
Succumbed to internal pressures and split into 15 separate countries, the second largest military buyer and supplier stopped existing. What was left was a massive stockpile of guns and no real demand for them to stay in the former Soviet Union. Almost 80% of the small arms stockpile left the bloc. While variants of the AK-47 were incorporated into many countries' official arms catalog, after 1991, the AK escaped the communist world. It now had to prove itself in the global free market as a commodity rather than a political tool. We've already
see. So this is the moment we're gonna be learning big time, because we're going to like the modern times, you know. And in modern times, I'm like, yeah, the only people that use are basically terrorists, or maybe like different groups in Congo, different groups in Central African Republic. Probably, I don't think Nigeria has many groups of like you know, much of a split. I think they have a terrorist organization over there, probably. Oh, not probably. There is one, probably. Why am I saying probably if I know the fact that there is one?
just 3 of the 5 pillars which I think the
I'm pretty sure, like, I don't know if this guy made any money on this video.
AK
He's talking like serious stuff, and I don't think I think if I had monetization, this video here would probably be demonetized. Like,
achieve total
you know,
black market dominance. These are accessibility, durability, and path dependence. Accessibility meaning the little amount of training required to use the gun.
yeah.
You can think of this as a low variable cost for a business. Durability in that the guns stick around a long time after they're made.
I mean, yeah, they do.
For as long as 50 years after creation.
Oh, okay. That is actually massive. Imagine this. You made a gun in the 50s. It's the year 2000. It's still shooting, but it's gonna break soon. You made it in 70s, the 74 variant. Okay, let's say. It can shoot until basically like 2020s. And there were variants that were made as up to like 2000s probably. So there's guns that can be shooting until 2050 basically. And there are probably variants that are made right now, which will be shooting until probably next like millennia. You know.
That's a very long time. The AK does not need to stay in the same hands or even the same region throughout this time. It can be used to suppress a rebellion now, then to aid one 20 years later.
Yeah.
And by path dependence, I'm talking about the glut of Soviet AK-47s that gave it an early market lead. Maintaining this dominance is much easier than catching up to a larger competitor.
Okay.
But that leaves 2 pillars out: low entry barriers and the gun's demand. There are 2 types of markets in which the AK dominates: the gray and black markets. Gray meaning things which were legally acquired but illegally sold, often bought by a rich arms dealer with fake end user certificates and shipped somewhere the seller was not aware of. Victor Bout, the merchant of death, often did this to supply, say, Angolan rebels with Bulgarian guns by showing them an endpoint of Ghana. The black market plays an even larger role, being the flow of goods illegally sourced and illegally distributed. From those gray market AKs reaching Angola, they can then be spread in the African black market.
Yeah, so basically you have a gun in Angola and it's going to go to the Congo, pretty much.
Essentially laundering it from a legal Bulgarian AK.
And then once the like stuff in Congo happens, then you can just like throw it to Central African Republic, basically. Yeah.
An illicit rebel-controlled one. Much of the guns trafficking comes through this ant trade, with individuals and loosely affiliated networks buying or maybe stealing these guns to transport to paying customers. And just like any other commodity, the price will fluctuate based on demand and entry barriers into the market. Historically, you could buy an AK for anywhere between the price of a live chicken to some blood diamonds to various drugs to tens of thousands of.
That is insane. So you could say that a chicken, right, is the equivalent of a blood diamond, or a equivalent of tens of thousands of dollars, basically. I don't think chicken is that expensive, but go for it, sure.
Dollars, depending on the time and the region.
Oh, that's true. I'm stupid. Good. That's how bartering trade basically works. If it's in need, you're gonna like you can basically say whatever the price is. If it's not really in need, but it would be like a nice thing to have, then you can just I have 50 chickens. You can have 2 of them. Here you go. Deal. Give me the gun.
4 factors
and ammo. Honestly, I wonder how he didn't talk about the ammo, because ammunition obviously runs out. Like, you cannot reuse the bloody lead bullets, all the time. I'm not sure if they're lead anymore, but like, you cannot use the bullets all the freaking time. You cannot reuse them. They're not renewable. How the hell do they get a huge supplies of like bullets? Do they come in a package or something? Like, here's like a gun, and a side of like a bit equivalent of like maybe say 180 bullets, maybe. I don't know. The capacity is like 60 bullets or something. I have no idea. I'm not sure about that. Like, let's see that, and then on top of that, you get a piece of like cloth to wipe your gun off with, wipe off the mud from your gun or something. There you go. McDonald's has deal basically.
Play into this are: 1. Political instability.
Yeah.
A country with more conflict is going to have a higher demand to participate in that fight, driving the price of an AK up.
Yeah.
In fact, that price can be seen as a signal as to if the region expects conflict in the future.
Oh, that is actually interesting, because like, if you know where to get this and then you just randomly ask the guy, how's the price of this? You're gonna figure out if you're gonna want to escape the country to somewhere else or not, basically.
It's like how a stock's price can be seen as an expectation of the company's future value. For example, AKs were trading for only $300 in Lebanon in 2005.
That is cheap.
Weeks after the assassination.
But that is also like $300 in 2005. You could buy a lot more things back then with like that amount of money than you can do now, basically.
Ex-Prime Minister Rafik Hariri, the price shot up to $600 as many people expected future chaos.
Yeah.
Second, the distance between buyer and seller will increase its price.
Okay.
Not only in terms of physical distance, but also how many regional markets it has to jump through to reach its destination in the segmented global market.
Sorry, I had to take a drink. As a sip, whatever I'm talking.
On the black market for around $500 in Detroit, but hop over the border to Windsor, Canada, and it starts selling for $1,000.
Why? Pause.
Distance, but also how many regional markets it has to jump through to reach its destination in the segmented global market for firearms.
Okay.
For example, an AK could sell on the black market.
Oh, is it because you have to travel through the border and you have border checks in Canada? Maybe. I need an American in the comment section to say if like any Americans survived this bloody video. I need you to answer me one question. If you go to Canadian border, can you go through it without dealing with whatever? Like, you don't need to like show your passport or anything. Like, you can just go through and they don't do like any checks or anything else.
$500 in Detroit, but
because if they do, that would make sense. Like the price going up, doubling basically.
Hop over the border to Windsor, Canada, and it starts selling for $1,000. Go even further to Toronto, and you can sell that Blickum for $2,000.
Okay, that is just distance,
Similarly, the easier it is to get through a border, the more porous it is, the lower the price will be on the other side.
Yeah.
This is why it's so easy for AKs to move through Africa's corrupt borders.
I mean, yeah, you just like, what you do is, here, have a 200, let me pass through, and you see nothing. That's you could say this similar thing happened during Ukrainian war, when there was a lot of like younger or like middle-aged men trying to escape the country. They just like, gave the people at the border basically spare change so they could go through. I think similar thing might be happening in some points of the Belarusian border, probably. They do somehow escape the Belarus, I mean, no wonder, but like, and it's not a completely locked up country. It's no North Korea, but like still, that's probably how you like escape some of those countries. Basically, you just like give a bit of money. You've seen nothing. I've seen nothing. We don't know me. I don't know you. And then you pass through. Boom.
Any demand for guns on this continent will be pretty easily met by supply from somewhere else, like Malian insurgents fighting with Gaddafi's old guns. Third,
I didn't know they had shit going on in Mali. What the fuck?
Third, the more a government can regulate the gun market, the higher its price will be.
Yeah, that makes sense.
When a government falls, assuming there's no conflicts creating local demand, its capacity to govern vanishes and the AK's price will fall. Gun smugglers will just find higher profits elsewhere. That's why the gun saw a mass exodus away from the Soviet bloc towards countries like Somalia and Yemen. What are these countries going to do? Regulate the trade away? And lastly, it all depends on local.
Just like you get guns to like barely functional countries. Like Yemen is basically split in two. Still. Somalia is split in like 15, more so than like two. I mean, maybe 4 or 5. I don't know. I don't know how Somalia is split up anymore. Somalia is split up in a bunch of ways. Only thing I know is that Somaliland is a place, kind of. Like, kind of a place, you know?
Perceptions of quality. Like any other good, people need to prefer it to its competitors to buy it. But because of its usability and excellent marketing campaign, this is no hurdle, especially for groups just starting to.
Okay. This meme is funny because 9 out of 10 doctors recommend the toothpaste, right? And they're just like 9 out of 10 groups recommend the AK-47. Okay.
Why this specific gun is the one to dominate this trade is not only the result of its utility and Soviet grand strategy, but because of the global market structure. As soon as a winner is chosen, previously produced guns will circulate around, especially in and out of less regulated war zones, and there will be no need to constantly update yourselves with new types of guns. The fixed costs are already spent, and training a soldier on a 40-year-old model is much cheaper than finding a dealer, buying a new gun, and then training the soldier on that.
True, because it's like much easier because you already have guys experience with it. Like you have the veterans that are like, oh yeah, I used this guy, this gun over here 20 years ago. Those were the days. Yeah, it looked good. You do this, do that, right? Here's the ammo, right? Clip there, and there you go. Pew, 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 right? And that's how the thing works. You don't have to worry about corrosion. You don't have to worry about anything as long as you remember this. Everything is going to be fine. And if you see one laying around and has ammo inside, just use it. No worries. Yeah.
We would need to see some pretty serious innovation in small arms to upend the AK-47's dominance. Something that radically improves upon its
laser beam
or cost or even its branding. Until then, we'll keep seeing wars fought with the same weapon over and over, changing hands every time a government falls.
Yes, duct tape.
And a new challenger pops up. I think we'll see the first rebellion of the 22nd century fought with AK-47s.
Imagine this though. That would be insane. Like, if this is the future, I would be willing to like wait around to see that. You know, I would be willing basically to just like to like wait around and see if they're gonna be using AKs after like 100 more years. That would be insane.
Maybe even the first one on Mars.
Oh, that would be.
If you like this video,
that actually sounds insane. Like, imagine a war on Mars. Like, would actually like our guns actually be functional on Mars? Maybe, I have no idea. Whatever. I like the video. The video was actually great. Enjoyed it very much. And honestly, I should have reacted to this video ages ago. This was such a fun thing to react to. I liked the video. I like this video. If you enjoyed my reaction, then you can like my video. And obviously, the link to this video that we've seen is in the comment section, you know. Blah, blah, blah. And yeah. I'm actually gonna subscribe to Oza. I'm surprised I'm not subscribed on like this account, I guess. He makes very decent videos. But yes, if you haven't subscribed to me, you can subscribe, and see you another time. Goodbye.